Hello, my name is Lowell, pronouns he, him, and this is our sort of last of our session zero material for our Blades in the Dark campaign, rolling over to our play. We have some things we're going to be doing today to do things. So we're going to have our players reintroduce their characters. So we get names and genders and things down. And then we're going to do our faction building. There's going to be some mechanical choices that we're going to be making on that. I've added in a couple of things to represent the revolutionaries as an archetype for a crew. There is a revolutionaries crew playbook now in the present playtest that's going on for the islands that is coming up for Blades in the Dark. I borrowed a couple of ideas from that for this, but not too directly. But we're going to do that, figure out what our layer looks like, our reputation, our characters' hunting grounds, make some choices about the benefits that our group has, and those are going to impact relationships to factions. We've got a lot of factions established on the table, most of them named at this point. We've also got an NPC tab now that has a lot of the different faction characters and names and things like that, and some that are still open to establishing. So those things are there. In our keeper, I have like hidden away some of the lookups for the different playbooks and things like that. As we need to, I'll pull those out, but I wanted to keep things a little bit tighter here as we're going through. And then once we get those things set, the special abilities, favorite contacts and all that things, then I do want to talk a little bit about character goals. I had mentioned that last time. What I want to get, at least for everybody, at least one of your two goals kind of worked out. So we have that in our head. It could be short-term goal, it could be long-term goal, but we're going to be thinking about that. So with all of that said, I would like to have us reintroduce our characters, remind ourselves who we are, what the character's playing. So what I'm going to ask you to say is your character's name, what they're about, their pronouns. Give us the elevator pitch on who they are so we can remind it of that. And this is session 2, so we're going to start with player 2 and work our way around. So let's start with our spider. Dominic, tell us and remind us who your character is.
So my character is Lauren Fars, known as Shale. And Shale grew up in the tonic pits, where basically the poorest of the poor are reduced to indentured servitude mostly, and sacrifice their life and health to make other people rich. And when he couldn't do that anymore because his hands got too bunged up, he was forced to try and make his life in the city as a pickpocket, and eventually became somebody who makes his money by knowing people and by making connections. He is at the beginning of his career, and coming from that background, his vice is luxury, where he goes to Madame Carnet's Emporium, which is a kind of department store, bazaar type of thing, and buys whatever he can afford in an effort to, as I wrote it down here, feel like a person for once. And he has two contacts. One is his friend, and during the part that got lost last time, kind of the characters turned around on what they were supposed to be with their initial alignments, but I chose to keep them that way because I find it quite interesting. His rival is Salia, an information broker, who he used to work with and had kind of a spark with, and they fell out over something. We don't know yet what. And Celia can become a very dangerous enemy if that situation is not handled delicately. But hopefully they will become friends again. And his friend, according to my character sheet, who might very well become an enemy down the road, is Riven, a chemist. And Riven grew up with Shale in the pits, and she also made it out by having a knack for chemistry and working up her way in the hierarchy. And now she is living a petit bourgeois life and is very sure of herself and her abilities, and that she made it out by the skin of her own teeth. And if she can do it, everybody else can.
Okay.
Yes, and that is what we have about him so far.
Would you prefer we use he, him, or they, them for?
I wrote they, them, and but I think I will keep falling back into he, him. So let's just stay there.
Okay, I just wanted to check in and make sure
Yep,
on that.
that's just less mental load.
Yeah. Next is our clerk.
Yeah, I'm Anders, he, him, and I'm playing Electra Nesbit, aka Sigil. And like Lowell said, she's the clerk playbook. She's she, her. And the clerk is someone who has a straight job in addition to being a scoundrel. In this case, she's working for the prison. She grew up outside the city itself, in the with one of the families serving the wealthy people who live on the hills, on the manors on the hills. And she's trained as a bureaucrat, administrator, legal clerk kind of person. She got a job at the prison, and that has thoroughly disillusioned her about the way this society is set up. She had been like fed this vision of how the society is just and well organized, and realized that it is not. So her friend is a cousin of hers named Amazon, who works as an accountant for the Honorable, which are the thoroughly corrupt city guards or police force. And her rival is Nikita, a pamphleteer, who just sees her as part of the system, holding people down. Think that, her vice is luxury, and she goes to the Maroon Ballroom, which is a place where middle class and working class people go to basically imitate the lifestyles of the wealthy, primarily through dances and what would be what is for them considered fancy dinners. So, but it's cheap. It's not at all actually fancy, but it's play pretend.
Excellent. I think that gives us a good sense. Next up is our Avenger.
So I'm Puckett. I use he, him pronouns, and I'll be playing Helen Bella, who came from the refugee flotilla. Basically, it's a bunch of ships, varying sizes and abilities and functionality that were all lashed together to provide greater stability. And there's a few tall masts to blow it around, but it basically goes wherever the wind takes it. It happened to come to this city some time back, and my parents went into the city and never returned. And, well, after growing up a little bit, I came back here to find out what happened to them and, if necessary, avenge them. I train with a woman named Selin as my vice, which sounds a little I mean, training as a vice, I mean, that seems a little unusual, but we practice parkour, we practice hand-to-hand combat in varying styles, we practice a little bit of breaking and entering here and there, and safe cracking and lock picking and whatnot. I'm friends with a journalist named Vale, who I feed information to every so often about the rich and the powerful and those who otherwise would see the poor and the underprivileged in the city ground under their boot. And there's a gangster named Jack Napier, and I suspect that if he doesn't know what happened to my parent, or if he wasn't involved with my parents' disappearance, he knows who was, or can at least point me in a direction.
Awesome. I think that gives us a strong sense of who you are, which brings us, last but not least, to our amalgam.
Yeah, hi, my name is Sabine. I use any pronouns, and I am playing the amalgam playbook, or whatever it's called. Their name is their name is Sikator Vaughn, but usually goes just by Stitch. Uses he or they pronouns, but they're not very clear, and they might not mind it if you call them a she. Pronouns are weird. They are a created being. Somebody stitched them together on some island, not that far away. And then the skull that stitched them together had a falling out. And then was like, yeah, come, go. We don't need you. The cult's gone. Bye, basically. And now Stitch is living in the city, doing odd jobs, carrying heavy stuff. Stitch is pretty strong, doing, yeah, whatever needs to be done, basically. And Stitch's vice is a bit weird because Stitch wants to figure out what human connection actually is, how humans relate to each other. So they will either watch people or go and talk to people if they're amenable. Stitch looks a little weird because of being stitched together, right? So not everybody is very happy to see someone like that or talk to someone like that. Stitch's friend is a finder, Telda. That's a sort of beggar spy guild thingy. And when Tala was harassed, Stitch came to her rescue. Maybe that wasn't even necessary, but well, yeah. Tala got curious about this weird person, and yeah, so they became sort of friends. Their rival is a guy named Sawbone, a physiker, and Sawbone saw Stitch and thought, how does that work exactly? I need to take this apart to figure out how that was done. So, yeah.
Excellent. So we know our group are revolutionaries, and you have done some things together, but you're very much just starting out. So in terms of our crew sheet, you do start with 2 coin, which may go away here in just a minute. It may fly out the door. We start with you having stronghold, and so we'll mark that. And you have 0 for your rep. Have not built that up, but you do have a reputation. And the book gives, the game gives a number of choices for this. Ambitious, brutal, daring, honorable, professional, savvy, subtle, and strange are the types. And we can also come up with another one if somebody has a sense of another reputation that might be more appropriate. Dominic, let me start with you. Any thoughts on which of those reputations, given what you've heard about the group, might be appealing, or even a couple of them?
While the camera was off last time, we kind of talked through a imaginary first score that we had, and that was built around destroying somebody's reputation because he was, I think, exploiting poor people or something like that.
Yeah.
And that points me towards honorable or professional, or
Okay.
both maybe.
Professional. Andish, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm thinking similarly. I think subtle could work there as well.
Okay.
That's true.
Like being indirect and that sort of thing. Yeah, I think either of those work.
Bucket of honorable, professional, subtle. Which of those is least fitting to your mind?
Subtle is least fitting.
Okay. So Sabine, between honorable and professional, which do you think we ought to establish like as the one that this has got to be an XP trigger, living up to that reputation or expanding on it?
I don't see us being super professional, really.
Okay. So let's go with honorable. I think that seems very appropriate. It gives us a target to work towards. Uh, we have for our characters, we're going to have a layer. And this is a location. And in the fiction that we set up for Blades in the Dark, you have a layer and you've kind of established yourselves as in the area surrounding that layer. This is your neighborhood. They're kind of the hunting grounds. And the way that Duskfall describes it, it's a original Blades of Dark. It's a few blocks that are really your home turf, your home ground. And of course, because of the density of our city, there may actually be more people than in other kinds of versions of this. So, any thoughts? Again, at the risk of throwing this out open to the table, any thoughts about what your layer should be? You know, is it an upstairs office? Is it a hidden basement? Is it an abandoned grotto? Uh, what would you like? Is it like a fallen clock tower?
How did you know? That's literally what I was going to suggest. A clock tower that's in disrepair.
What does everybody else think? Does that seem appealing?
I mean, I've had that before, but sure.
Okay.
It's a good thing.
Good.
Yeah. It works especially because we've established that there are a lot of rope bridges and verticality and those kinds of things. So it's not just that your tower kind of standing out in the middle of nowhere. It's in disrepair, but it's probably also people can come by and pass it. So we've got that. Now, one of the things we're going to do is we're going to decide on hunting grounds. This is our kind of favored operation type. Your crew will get XP when you successfully execute a sabotage, espionage. I'm going to misspell espionage every time I type it. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Rescue or sedition operation. Also, if you do rabble rousing, it's also included in there. But we're going to choose one of our mission types: espionage, sedition, sabotage, or rescue as your favored one. Espionage meaning obtaining secret information by covert or clandestine means. A sedition is forcing competing interests, upsetting the balance of current power. Sabotage is breaking something that's valuable to someone to cause problems. And then rescue is righting wrongs and protecting the citizenry. Dominic, thoughts on that?
I think as spider. Espionage or sedition are probably most in my wheelhouse.
Okay.
But as a person, I also really like rescue.
Okay. So we've taken sabotage off the table there. So we're down to 3. Sabine, among espionage, sedition, and rescue, which of those is least appealing to you?
Espionage, sedition, and rescue, right?
Yeah.
I think I would take off espionage. I mean, I like
Okay.
rescue.
Okay.
So.
So sedition and rescue. Ondish, if you had to pick between those two?
Hmm. Kind of like sedition more, I think, just
Okay.
because it's more morally gray, I guess.
Yeah. And the only thing this really affects is in your hunting grounds, when you do that kind of operation there, you get that bonus. So
yeah,
so yeah, let's set sedition right now, because that does reflect what you just did, the mission we talked about as when you first got together. So I think that seems fair. So now, this particular place that you live, that you operate in, is under the influence of another faction. And I think, just to make it, we kind of referenced them before a couple of times. I think that this is under the influence of Molly's crew, our pirate group. They are the ones that have the broader hold. They've got stronghold, tier 2. So they're not the biggest, but they have some things. So, Puckett, you have a choice now, and I'll put this in your hands. The choices, of course, when dealing with this group, is you can pay one of the 2 coin that you have, and Molly's crew is fine with you operating there. You can pay both the coin that you have, and Molly's crew is fond of you guys because you pay them up front, because you've given them some money. Or you can decide to keep that coin for yourself, in which case Molly's crew is not as happy with you.
Well, I would feel really bad about spending both coin without giving somebody else a chance to say something. But I think that they're at least okay, because they're more about money. They're pirates. They're probably fine with us doing our little sedition thing as long as it doesn't get too hot in this area.
So spending one of our 2 coin on that to keep them.
Spend one of those 2 coin, yes.
Okay, we'll spend that. Remove one of your coin. And I understand that's a good thing. The strong, weak, firm thing is a thing that was in the sheet, and I've seen a couple of other places. I haven't had a chance to look up what it is, but I like the idea of there kind of being a kind of an in the middle, maybe transitional status. They're kind of stuck in the status quo. I think for our group, it'll be weak or strong because we're players. PC groups, but for NPC groups, I'm gonna kind of play with that. We'll see what that does. So operating in this neighborhood, we've got this clock tower, the neighborhood around. We'll talk about some other things with that, but the next thing is you are going to get 4 crew advancements and a special ability. The special ability, we're going to be, building this kit for our characters. I've put 2 special abilities that are appropriate for our revolutionaries. The classic, you can add +1 to one of 3 ability scores. I've also got the choosing a particular kind of plan, and you get a bonus to engagement die. The other options are there. If you go down to row 49, I've essentially taken all of the possibilities from the various playbooks, and we'll kind of pick those as we need to. I would suggest for purposes of simplicity, if there's no objections, that we start you out with that adding a point to everybody, adding one to one of those 3. Is that cool with everybody? It's always a good start. We'll make sure we get you nice XP early on. So everyone may go through and choose to add +1 to either your survey, your rec, or your consort. The next thing is you have 4 upgrades that you're going to get. Upgrades give you cool stuff, cool things that your group starts with. They can be, if we look off to the side, they can be various things for your layer, like having a carriage or a boat, having your quarters be secure or hidden. It can be about having quality gear always for the group of particular types. It can be about giving you a bonus when you train in a particular type, insight, prowess, or resolve. Those are the ones that are kind of over there. You could add a new cohort to your group. But then you also have these drop downs. If you will notice, they're in the middle under crew upgrades. Each of these has several different options. These, again, are stolen from the various crew playbooks, but you'll notice that they are mutually exclusive. So if you pick one from a particular list, it does exclude the other ones from that list. But each of these costs, we've got 4 picks to give. At the end, we're going to pick 2 of these and talk about how you kind of owe people for them. So Dominic, everybody's going to get a pick because you got 4 of them. So what would you pick of crew upgrades?
I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, please look through, because there's a lot of stuff in the drop downs.
There is. Just from experience, it's always good to have somebody who can play the doctor. So maybe I would go for a specialist cohort doctor,
Okay.
like a medic.
Okay, go ahead and so let's see. So do that under the elites, or do we have another thing for that? Where is that at?
Should just be a normal cohort.
Yeah, specialist, right? The specialist cohort as opposed to a gang.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So go ahead and put that under cohort, kind of write that in. And so you've got some a couple of doctors amongst your group.
Just one is enough.
Yeah.
Like it's just one person that is qualified, as opposed to a couple of
Okay.
killers.
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly. We have one doctor. We'll give them a name. So when they suffer injury later on, we can feel bad for it. But we've got them out there then. That seems perfect. Ondish, we've got a doctor. What would you like as the second upgrade?
I know from experience that the training upgrades are really good, but they're also kind of boring. I think I'd like to go with quality documents, maybe, or quality something at least.
Given who you are and what your access to, quality document seems like a real strong one, and you have a lot of good fictional positioning to say what those are.
Yeah, I mean, my playbook already gives me access to find documents.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if those would stack, but I think they would, which is not super important. Let's see, gear is burglary and climbing gear. Implements is arcane stuff. Supplies is subterfuge, which is makeup and such. Tools is demolition and things. Yeah, let's go with documents. I think that's an interesting thing to have, a useful thing to have.
That certainly makes sense. So yeah, go ahead and we can darken that in. Puckett, what do you want for your third one?
All right. And just to make sure I'm looking at this correctly, we're looking under crew upgrades.
Yeah, so it'd be the crew upgrades, the drop downs, but that also includes the choices can be made for layer, quality, or training. That's off a little bit to the side there.
Oh, there's stuff to the right. Okay, gotcha. You know, I always like thief rigging. I don't see any reason to change that.
Okay.
So I'll just go with thief rigging.
All right. It is super useful. And Sabine, what would you like for the last one?
I'm torn a bit between a workshop and a boat, but I think we might have a workshop. I like having a workshop.
Okay. So Puckett, who helped you all out in getting that thieves rigging? Like that was some pretty, that's some elaborate equipment. That's pretty sophisticated. What faction was helpful in doing that?
Let me flick over to the factions real quick.
Please.
I think it was the finders.
Okay.
Because being scavengers and scavengers of the weird, they have to be able to carry extra stuff than they thought they might find.
Excellent. So you have a good reputation with the finders. Got a +1 with them. Stitch, the workshop required taking, borrowing, lifting, maybe even stealing materials from another group to get that put together. Who was it that was taken from that you have a bad reputation with?
Ooh, nice. Let me see. Okay, not you. I mean, there's the Masters of the Cog Territorial Tinkers, but they are tier 3. Is that okay?
And it's fine with me.
Okay.
Let's start out with them being a serious issue. Now, you also, as a group, will start with a contact. This is this can be a person who is, you know, an informant or just a friend or an ally. Dominic, let me start with you. Tell me something about this contact, this favored person who helps out your revolutionary group.
So I think that they want to make it. No, actually, I was just thinking like, hey, they want to make a difference is not a worthwhile addition, but actually is, because they could also just be using us. But no, our contact really wants to make a difference, and maybe is in a position of power, so they can't act openly.
Okay. Electa, we have a person who's in a position of power. They have to hide this. What are they? Are they a highly placed official? Are they a member of the Autarch's family? Are they somebody in the police? What is the deal?
I like someone in the Autarch family, because there's like, if they're already entrenched in the power structure, it's in that way, in like an involuntary way, that makes them interesting.
Daughter, son, brother, cousin, appointee, childhood friend.
Yeah, I think it's someone who is in a somewhat precarious position. So like one of the children's best friend. Like
Okay.
they're not like actually part of the family, but they're very close with the family. So it's really risky for them to be discovered.
Friend of Autarch's child. Okay. Excellent. Sabine, this friend of the Autarch's child, they have good relations, good contacts, good rapport with a particular faction. Who is that? Because you're going to get a +1 favor with them.
So it makes sense that it would be the Autarch, right? Because I mean,
You could certainly put that, but that would mean that the Autarch as a whole looks favorably on your group.
oh, okay, no, that's probably not. I think that it might be the Copper Registrar, Obsessive Official Scribes, because maybe the best friend is a part of their faction.
Yeah, and maybe has been trained by them. That's part of their role, and the court is doing that. I like that. But then Huntress, our person on the inside with the Autarch, also kind of has not so great relations with some other faction, bringing you a little bit of heat for that. Which faction is that?
I think the Honorable, the Double Dealing Guards.
Okay. So this is perhaps someone who has stood up to the guards in the past. and as a result, maybe they're getting a little more heat towards your direction. So that gives us a sense of our clock tower based group. We've got your workshop, those kinds of things. We'll talk about the neighborhood a little bit further. What I want to ask now is come around and talk about at least one of your character's goals, so we have a sense of who they are and what they want. So, Dominic, what do you want to tell us about one or both of the goals for Shale?
So that is always a very, very difficult thing for me at that point, because I tend to get to know my characters like
Sure.
throughout the season. But
like a
it's-
concrete short-term goal, like you can
But
give
a
yourself a good target. Yeah.
a concrete short-term goal would be to mend the situation with my enemy. And that's a good short-term goal because I don't think it can hold my interest for the entire season.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a
So
good thing.
you want to make friends again with
Salia.
Salia. So we can see that, like, that's a concrete goal. You know, you have to have a reconciliation. There has to be a moment of making up. We know that we can see that on screen. And of course, the consequences for that is that if you don't, she's going to bring the hammer down on you and your friends.
He is.
So yeah.
Mhm.
So is that seems pretty good to me. So let's work with that.
Mhm.
Andish, what do you want to establish as a goal for Electra?
There's a person in the prison who she has figured out is definitely innocent, that she wants to get out of.
Prisoner, prove innocence. I assume our consequence are that they are scheduled to be executed, kind of thing.
Yeah, that sounds
okay. So what are they in for?
I think it's something pretty mundane. It's like stealing. It's the third time they got caught stealing, but actually this time they hadn't done it. Yeah.
And let me ask you this: how does Electra know that they're innocent? Like, is it? Did you find evidence? What do you think that looks like?
Yeah, I think she. Part of her job was like going through some notes, case files, but not, it wouldn't be like modern case files, but like
Right.
notes on the various things. And she noticed that there was a witness who had given a fairly detailed description of the person, and it doesn't match at all.
Excellent. And we'll say you've already done a little bit of pushing on this, but like nothing has moved and you're a little surprised by that. So there's clearly something else going on there. Okay. I'm going to have you come up with a name for that prisoner at some point. We'll get that on the table. Puckett, what about for Halen?
I have two goals. My
Okay.
short-term goal is send money to the flotilla for basically mutual aid. And the long-term goal is find out what happened to my parents and, if necessary, avenge them.
Okay. So let's talk about that. The send money to the flotilla. What is the consequence for you if you don't? Because we want to make this concrete and we want to have like a point at which that can be completed. And if you don't do it, something bad happens.
This goes to maintenance and upkeep. So it goes to paying for holes in the boats, plugging them, getting tar so that these holes can be plugged at sea if necessary. There's not really a dry dock that can hold the flotilla.
Okay.
So
right now the flotilla is in bad shape. It desperately needs an infusion of cash and coin that you have to pull together quickly to get to them, or they're going to lose some of their ships.
Yeah, and
That's-
it will cause this. It will affect the structure of the entire flotilla.
Okay. All right. You need to deliver 3 coin within the next few weeks. Does that seem fair?
Works for me.
Okay. And the long-term goal, you need to find out what happened to your parents. You
Mhm.
need to discover the name, the identity of that killer as a long-term goal. And the consequence if you don't,
Evil goes unpunished, which
Well-
is admittedly kind of hand wavy.
well, I think if you don't, by a certain point in time, they're going to find out who you are, and they're going
come after
to,
me.
well, they're going to come after everyone you love.
Well, and one last thing. Did we decide last time that the parents were officially dead, or are they just missing?
You told me that they
Presumably.
were missing, but their things turned up, and you don't know
Yes.
whether they're alive or dead.
Yeah, they were sold at a. They were being sold at a stall in the market.
Yeah.
So, to me, that says they're dead.
Mm-hmm. We got some interesting possible consequences. I like that. I like that. Next, let's come to our amalgam. Sabine, what would you like to set as goal or goals?
I think what I wrote down is I want to find a place of my own. Like, because right now I'm either hanging out in the clock tower or on the street. Maybe it's not just for me that I'm looking for a place to live, but just like for some other well, outcasts, beggars, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
you mentioning that is your short-term goal right now?
yeah, that's my short-term goal.
Okay.
Just find a place to live and maybe find a place where I can do charity stuff for others. So,
Find a place where you're going to be accepted.
yeah.
Where
Yeah.
you can go out.
Yeah.
And so the challenge is that a lot of people won't sell to you, won't.
Yeah.
What are the consequences for you right now, you think, if you can't do that soon?
I think if I can't do that soon, I will be picked up
Okay.
often by the corrupt guard for loitering.
Yeah, you're right now you're having to hang around the clock tower. You're getting spotted more often. You need a place to lay low.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And I also have a long-term goal.
Okay.
My long-term goal is I want to either join a faction of alchemists or make one of my own.
Create a faction of alchemists. Okay, concrete. We can see when you've completed that. What are the consequences for not doing that? Why is it that you need to do that?
Because if I don't, then I will always have people on my tail, right, that want to take me apart. And also, I mean, there are a lot of alchemical factions, but none of them are very ethical. And I think the consequences if I fail is that I step onto their toes.
Okay, you need to establish that, or they are going to get their act together to take the very fire that powers you or make you fall apart. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That seems pretty reasonable.
Mhm.
Anything else anybody else wants to add in or say about their goals? Okay. Let's take our first break here. Let's take to the hour, since we're about 8 till, and then we'll come back and we'll set up an initial light score here. So we are back. So Shale, none of you have a great standard of living. Right now, you're all kind of living on the margins. You have ideals and ambitions, but maybe not necessarily the cash to back that up. So when we first see Shale, where is it that we see them waking up? Are they sleeping in someone's place? Are they sleeping at the clock tower? Are they, in an abandoned place? Like, what do we see that about where Shale lives?
So we didn't give ourselves the quarters advance. So Shale is not sleeping at the clock tower. I think part of Shale's way of life is that they are couch surfing. So we probably see them like waking up in some bed, blinking, looking around, getting quickly dressed, and leaving through a door that leads to a little roof, to a tiled roof, and just like stretching and blinking into the early morning sun.
So this seems like something that is very, like, when we see Shale, we know that they've done this before. Like, this feels very
Yeah.
commonplace.
Yeah, and then as they leave, somebody else is coming apparently home from a night shift, like very tired, and is opening the other door to the same bedroom and getting into that bed.
Perfect. And like, how is Shale dressed? What do we see? Like, what does their outfit look like? What does the clothing look like? Colors or kind of clothing that they're wearing?
I think they are dressed quite neat and quite nicely in very like colorful colorful flowing garment.
Mhm.
We said like we in the beginning we didn't establish that the island is like very hot, and I said I remember that we distinctly didn't do that, but in my I can't get
Yeah.
that out of my head, like the desert climate.
Yeah, I think we simply said there's a certain amount of tropical
Rain, a lot of rain.
atmosphere. Yeah.
But so they're clothed in like flowing garments that are very colorful, and surprisingly clean for somebody who doesn't have their own place to live.
And we did establish that there is in the morning hours before dawn, like clockwork, there is this rain that happens. What do we see of that rain? Does it dry up quickly, or are there still puddles, or is it burning off? Do we have a fog? Like, what do we see here in this early morning dawn?
I think it is raining, and it is that's this intensity that summer rain sometimes has, when it's quite strong actually. And
Still kind of light out. We're still getting the light through the clouds, but we're getting it kind of heavy.
Yeah, and then we also see that the local architecture is adapted to that. So there are like little canopies everywhere, and all the roofs are tilted, and they're tilted in a makeshift way. So they haven't been built like that, but they have been adapted to that.
Right. I like that. And probably rain barrels and things to catch all of that fresh water there. Electra, you actually have a job, don't make a lot of money, and some of your money has certainly gone into the revolutionary operation. So when we cut to you, what do we see of Electra's morning?
I think um, the prison has living quarters, but when she got there, they were full.
Okay.
So I think she's been like shown to the back of a storeroom or something. Like, yeah, we'll put a cot in here, but they never did. So she's got a blanket and like a lumpy straw mattress on the floor. And she's just been able to make a small space there in the back of this half abandoned storeroom.
Okay. And the prison is called the prison, but it's also called the Sultanate because below it there are some salt mines. Truly unnecessary, given that you are on a saltwater body water, but they send people down there to work those. But what else do we see here as you get up and move through? What else do we learn about the prison?
Ooh. There's a yard, but it's not like a modern prison yard. This is just like an open space. And I think they have like the prisoners breaking rocks, that sort of thing. Just like really unnecessary heavy labor.
Mm-hmm. And do you wear a uniform? I mean, well, obviously the guards have a uniform here, but do you also in a similar thing or a different thing? How does that work?
Ooh, good question. Yeah, I think the staff, the administrative staff also wear uniforms. They're slightly different, but they're similar
Yeah.
to the
Well,
guard.
and so what does your uniform look like?
It's gray, and I think it's like, oh, I'm not sure what it's called. It's kind of wool fabric, but it's not uh, actually. Yeah, sorry. It's wool.
Yeah, like a super cheap wool, the kind of
Yeah.
linen wool. Okay, yeah, yeah, very light.
Mhm.
Wears through very easily at the elbows and
Yeah.
things. Okay, in the most like this is the cheapest dye they could get is this
Yeah.
gray color. Okay.
Yeah. A lot of people have like fixed their uniforms themselves, so there's a lot of and she probably she has to keep her uniform in like repair it herself if it tears or
I like it. And then we come to Halen. What what is the place that we see you? I mean, you are also living kind of on the margins. Where do we see you waking up?
Despite being from the flotilla, I still try to go to church. And I was lucky enough to find a small, calling it small is an insult to small things.
Okay.
It's basically a storefront church, but there's only enough room for one sideways pew. It's long and narrow. And after I helped the leader of this congregation a couple of times with coming through with some much needed money for his coffers, he turns the other cheek or looks the other way when I sleep on this pew. It is not comfortable. There is no padding. I don't have a pillow besides rolling my cloak up and tucking it under my head.
And let me ask you this. You have a kind of civilian identity, as a legalist. You mentioned that last time. Like, do you have a separate outfit of clothes that you wear for that, or is it that you're kind of the lowest tier legal aid, and so your dress doesn't matter, or something else?
I have a very carefully tended suit
Okay.
that I wear for my day job. I mend it, and I have learned some noteworthy sewing skills over the years so that it does not look mended.
Okay.
But at some point in the not too distant future, I'm going to need to replace it.
Everything wears out eventually. It is the wear and tear. So they probably would see you. What color is that suit?
Standard gray.
Standard
I
gray.
can use it for so many different occasions with that.
The right accessory?
Yes. I mean, I am definitely not rich enough to buy cheap things. So I tend to buy clothes that are well made and will last, but yeah, it'll wear out eventually. Try to
Okay.
get stuff for as many purposes as possible.
And Stitch, we've kind of established that your kind of hang around is closer to the clock tower. Do we see you there or nearby, or where do we see you?
No.
Do you sleep?
Yeah, I sleep. I sleep. I
Okay.
need rest. Rest at least. I think I also dream. I am actually pretty human in that regard.
Okay.
I also eat and do the other things that are associated with this. They were not that bad at creating a human being. So yeah, no,
That brings me a question before you answer any further. I'm going to ask this. Let's assume that when we come into you, we come before you've woken up and we see like a fragment of one of your dreams.
Oh.
What does Stitch dream of?
a laboratory where they were created, I think. And I think they weren't the only being created there. They created other beings that were a lot prettier, but they didn't work. Like they had these pretty people there, but or human bodies there, but they never woke up, or if they did, they were just screaming. So
Excellent. And when you wake up, like, when we see the wake up, are you startled? Do we see that this is commonplace or something else? Like, what's your expression there?
I think it is first off, it's a little horrified, but I am used to dreams like this, so it's not that like oh my god, I had this awful dream. It's more like, okay, I saw the question side chat. That's why I'm laughing. Maybe.
And so when the camera pulls back, where are you? Where do we see you?
I think I'm occasionally crashing at the clock tower, but right now I'm not. I'm under a bridge, as I said. And it's a nice bridge. I have my favorite bridges, can go to them all the time because, you know, the whatever they're called, the honorables, they don't like seeing that. So I wake up really early. Probably the sound of the rain that wakes me up, actually. And then I stretch a little because, you know, with these body parts they're not really working all that well together. Anyway, so then I'll look around and then I'll limp off.
And we see you start to move out. Like,
Mhm.
what is your outfit? How are you dressed? What do we see? Is it a very concealing suit? Is it a patchwork suit like yourself? Is it something else?
I think it is. I think I have a big coat, like as big as you can get. So yeah, concealing is about that. It's not too clean because, you know, if you sleep under a bridge, that's not so simple. It has patches. It has frayed edges. But it's brown. I think it's not gray. Let's go for another color here.
Okay.
It's kind of muddy brownish with some greenish patches. And it's like, yeah, well, it doesn't fit too well, but it's big enough that you don't want to know what that was originally made for, because I would have been a very big person. But yeah,
How tall are you?
I've been thinking right now, probably not even that tall. I thought I would be tall. No, but I'm not. I'm a stumpy little amalgam.
Okay. I like that. A little contradictory there.
Mhm. I mean, I'm fairly wide though.
Okay. You are pretty strong, wide. We will see, some flashes of you throughout the day. We get that sense of that. We pick up some of the news of recent happenings. One of the things, Shale, you'll hear is that there was some kind of spill with some very nasty, like toxic stuff. where did the spill happen? Was it somebody transporting something? Was it at the workshops? Was it alchemists? Was it the ziggurat mages? Like, where did the spill happen?
I would like to introduce our friends at the wound into that story at this point.
Okay, sure.
So I think what might have happened is that they were transporting a tanker full of like raw tonic, like from one point of the city to another, and they accidentally got too close to the wound. And let me just quickly look up their precise name. Just a second. Didn't give them a name for nothing. Just have way too many tabs on.
So is this a different thing than so we know the center of the island, you've got those ruins that has the wound. Is this something then in the city, or did the spill happen at the ruins?
Yeah, that's why I was going to. I just wanted to look up the name. The 15th Pioneers that got sent there to look at what's what, and then just stayed there. And they took a pot shot at the transporter. And that caused the transporter to crash and just like break open like an egg, and all that raw tonic spilled on the streets, and that caused a lot of problem for a lot of people with cleaning it, with accidental chemical burns and poisoning of the groundwater and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because it rains. There's no way you can stop the rain. It starts to wash into various places.
Yes.
There's probably a little bit of a haze over the city this morning.
Yes, and just because one person drove a bit too close to somewhere where he shouldn't have.
Yeah. I like that. People are talking about the 15th. You know, they haunt the city, they haunt the ruins. They're crazy. They people don't know why they act that way, and they are dangerous. And also, people don't know why they haven't been dealt with by the authorities.
The good thing is they seem to stay where they are, but you got to respect that.
Yeah. I like it. Let me ask you this, Andish. We talked about in one of the faction things about the Embassy of the Blue Heath. These are these ambassadors and spies. And the big world is that they've already kind of established a place here, but what you have heard is a ship arrived from the home country of this with a larger entourage of people for this embassy, like bringing official gifts for the autarch, and new diplomats and things like that. And what is the relationship between your city and the country where this embassy comes from?
Ooh. I think they are the biggest importers of this tonic. So they are the major importers, so they really want this stuff, but that also means that they are the ones who bring in the most money to the city, which gives them a lot of pull.
And Sabine, Stitch, what is it what's the stereotype, positive or negative, about this embassy, or about people from this country, from this culture?
I think the stereotype is that they are super uncouth. They are very direct. They will they don't make compliments. They tell you that you look horrible if you look horrible. That's the stereotype, right? That they are uncouth. They don't know which fork to use. Yeah, their shoes are are too comfortable, not fashionable enough, stuff like that.
Okay. They're trying to make a big diplomatic show. There's some people that say that this whole presentation of themselves as barbarians is a stratagem in and of itself. I like
Quite
that.
possible.
And Halen, the other thing that's on people's lips is there was another in a series of murders that has been happening in the city. And people are talking about it as much for the murders themselves, as much for the absolute police incompetence in dealing with these killings. Tell me something about these murders. Who are they targeting? Is it random? Is it a group of people? What do we know? Is it just a linked style?
The killer's targeting street people
Okay.
and using a ligature. So it's not even as though these are particularly quick killings. It's as if the murderer wants the victims to know that they are dying instead of just bleeding out rapidly or getting their throat cut or something along those lines. So there's an element of, there seems to be some kind of element of sadism to it. Whether that's because the killer wants to hurt people or enjoys hurting people, or he wants them to know that they're being hurt, who can say? What I know is that I want to find him, and I don't so much want to end the string of murders as I want to end him, which will end the string of murders.
Absolutely. So that's sort of in the background is these killings of people on the street, these strangulations, the police not doing much about it.
The other detail is that there's some speculation that the killer is targeting people on the street precisely because no one will do much about it.
Absolutely. The uncared for. So we take up with the four of you. It's at the end of the day, there is a moment when all of you gather in the clock tower. Dominic, tell me something about the clock tower. When we finally go in there and see it, we're inside it. Tell me something about it.
First of all, I wonder why it hadn't been inhabited before us.
Sure.
And I think maybe it is actually quite difficult to get there. Like it's high up, there's no direct connection to anywhere, and you really need to climb. And we all have our very individual way of like solving that problem. And for Shale, that is probably that. I don't know how Shale solves that problem. I have to think about that for
Sure.
a bit.
I'm assuming so we've got some broken stairs leading up to it. It's hard to get up that way. The rope bridges that are by it look like they're far away, but if you've got some tricks to enter into it without being seen. Do you think your approach is more physical or more clever?
Like with Shale, it would probably be more a feat of organizing. So maybe Shale actually has a rope ladder installed there.
Okay.
That is very well hidden.
Like a secret pull down, it drops down, climb up.
Like there's a fake wall, and behind that fake wall is the rope ladder.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Electra, when we get inside the clock tower, what is it that we see? What does your lair look like in there?
So I think it's this big open space. There used to be like a big bell like in the center, but that's not there anymore. But it's still like a big open space with a fall down. So we're mostly like staying out on the edges around this big open space, and I think there's like 3 or 4 floors like that are fairly usable. So that's where we're staying. It's in disrepair, but it's not like falling down damaged or anything.
And you've managed to get it into relatively okay shape there. Halen, you have a doctor that is, in the employee of your group. What does their space look like?
Oh, they have the most luxurious space in the entire clock tower. And by that, I mean that they have a few empty barrels that they're able to put together to form something adjacent to a table that they're able to use to work on patients on.
Okay. So they have a little bit of space to do that. The one feature that you do have in the tower that you've paid the points for, besides the document storage, is this workshop. Stitch, this is a significant workshop. What is it? What does it look like in here?
I think it still looks like an amalgam for funny reasons. It's like there are boxes, like wooden boxes that some of the stuff is on. And there is a sort of cabinet with half a door missing, but it's a cabinet and you can put the glass vials in, because we stole some of that stuff, right? That glass vials. It looks a little banged together, but it is working. It is workable. It's where Stitch mostly hangs around when they're at the clock tower and trying to figure out stuff.
Yeah, some of the stuff you've got out, you know how it works. Some of the stuff is still in the boxes. You're uncertain about it.
Yeah.
And I think as you're there, one of your, you have 1 or 2 other people that are part of your cell that has clambered up. And this young man comes to the 4 of you and says, something has happened. And we need to do something. And quickly. And he says, a couple of weeks ago, there was that strike, that labor strike up at the smoke tonic monopoly areas at one of the factories that got squashed very quickly by the honorable and others. They've been rounding up people. They caught a lot of the ringleaders. But one of them was in the area here, a guy named Despotier. He managed to make it out of there and has been laying low. But just a few hours ago, he got spotted and grabbed up by one of the Rain brothers. They knew who he was. They knew that he's wanted. They grabbed him up and they dragged him back to their place. And I have it on good authority that they sent word to some of the thugs from the Monopoly to come down and pick him up. And we don't have very long. We only have a few hours, but we've got to get him out of there. Kind of looks at all of you. Can we do that? This guy has lots of friends.
We can try, I guess. Cracks his knuckles.
Sure, we can.
And what you know about the Rain Brothers is that they're actually sisters. They are, a tier 1 criminal group that operates around in this area, kind of overlaps a little bit with Molly's crew area. They're another one like yourself that kind of pays a little bit of homage to them. And they're essentially specialists in fisticuffs. But that is what you know about them. Dominic, tell me something else you know about the Rain Brothers.
They are there are just very few of them. There are very, very competent pugilists, and they have very high standards for joining.
Okay. And Electa, what do you know about the Rain Brothers?
Or I'm not coming up with anything.
Sure. Well, tell me this, like, what is their, they have the second floor. Their sort of hideout is the second floor. What is the place like? Like, is there a store underneath? Is there a bar underneath? Is there offices? Like, what does their place look like?
It's a distillery.
Okay. Second floor over a distillery. They've got that there. That's what their location is like. Halen, tell me something about the leader of the Rain Brothers. What is she like?
She's very politically powerful, or at least as politically powerful as you can get down here.
Okay.
She has actually spoken with the autarch personally on at least one occasion that is known.
She probably repeats that story quite a bit. Okay.
To anyone who will listen and everyone who won't.
And Stitch, who have the Rain Brothers had bad relations with, besides eventually yourselves?
Besides ourselves.
Yes.
Okay, let me look at the factions here. I think they have had bad relations with the poetic terrorists.
Okay.
Because they are very unpoetic. And they make fun of people, of poetry. They make fun of poetry, and that pissed off one of the society's members.
Okay.
And then they beat up one of them, and then well.
So let's talk here about this. We know we've got this pugilist group. We know that they have somebody you want to extricate. You've got a short amount of time before the monopolists are going to come down. You could try to get him out before they come. You could try to get him as they're leaving. You could try a more clever plan. You could try a more direct plan. What are your thoughts, Dominic?
Could you please remind me, who are we getting out?
So there is a guy named Despotir. He was amongst the ringleaders of a strike up at the tonic workshop. He managed to get away when the strike breakers came in. But now the Rain Brothers have caught him and are turning him over to the monopoly.
And they're doing that like sort of as headhunters, bounty hunters.
Bounty hunters, essentially. They've sent word. The monopolists are undoubtedly going to send some of their Pinkertons, their strike folks down to snatch him, and They're not going to take him to prison.
Okay. And the guy is hiding out somewhere?
No, he got grabbed. He's actually held by the Rain Brothers right now.
Oh, I thought they're coming for him.
The Rain Brothers have him held, and the monopolists are coming down to get him.
Ah, okay. And
Yeah,
we need
sorry.
to get him out before they can hand him over. Now I got it. Okay,
Yeah,
what was the
sorry.
question?
So the question is, like, what are your thoughts about, like, how would you approach dealing with this? I mean, is this the kind of thing that you want to be more directly assaulting, trying to deceive, trying to stealth your way in, something else?
So, as a spider, of course, my go-to option would be to either try to make a deal with the Rain Brothers, but I don't know if we have anything that we could leverage, or try to fabricate a scenario where they either the Rain Brothers turn against the monopolists, or think it is in their interest to let the guy go. But I don't quite know how to get there yet.
So it does seem like we're maybe looking towards a deception kind of plan. Electa, what do you think? What do you want to add into this thinking about that?
I can see two reasonable ways to do it, because I think fighting them is a bad option. We could try to sneak in and sneak this person out without getting caught, or we could try to bluff as being from the monopoly and say, yeah, we're the ones who are here to pick him up. That's probably difficult, but it's audacious, and that's always fun.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, Sabine had the same thought.
And certainly we can read that as a deception, and then you know, possibly the deception could be deception could be distraction to give an advantage on that. Does that seem reasonable?
Yeah.
So the sort of the method of deception is disguising yourselves as representatives of the monopoly, right? Anything you want to add to that, Huntress?
No, I'm good with that.
Okay. So that is our deception plan. That is what we know you're going to be doing. So let's ask yourselves, what load would you like to set for yourselves?
Before we set the load,
Yeah.
I would like to use my Weaving the Web ability. You gain +1d to consort. When you gather information on a target for a score, you get +1d to the engagement roll for that operation.
Okay.
And what I would like to know, so the scene is that Shale is, what did we say? What was the store that their hideout is over?
They are above a distillery, a
distillery.
They're making hard liquor there.
And is that a secret? Probably a secret hideout. So Shay wouldn't know where that is actually.
Well, you probably know they're a tier 1. So you probably know that they're above. It's probably not common knowledge, but you're among the criminal network. You know that they have this second floor hideout above it.
So then Shale would just like go there, you know, pretend to be sent by Dillis and Sons, the big liquor consortium, and like to scout the merchandise. And while he does that and gets drunk with the foreman there, he's going to steer the discussion towards the what were they called, the monopolists?
Yeah.
And try to find out like who they're dealing with, like who are the monopolists that are known faces around here.
Okay. Yeah.
and more importantly, try to get a name that we can later then say we are working for that person. And I will roll consort.
Yeah, with a +1 dice, so roll me 4 dice.
Yes. Oh yeah, there's no automatic.
And you've got your physical dice, so please.
Yeah. There's no automation here in that thing, so let me quickly get my 4th dice.
Sure. You're like, holy cow, I'm not going to have 4 dice in a game like this.
That's a 6.
That is a 6. So yeah, you will hear that they sent word that they know the monopolists, and that the monopolists are sending down a guy named Bergstrom. And Bergstrom, people don't like, they don't have a good description of them, but they know he's a big, heavy, nasty guy. Like, he's the guy they call out to break heads among the strikers, and that Bergstrom is kind of pissed that this guy got away, and Bergstrom's probably going to be coming down by like with his group, so they know Bergstrom's coming. Does that seem like a fair answer?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. And you'll get a description of him, kind of, to that, of course, you can fit to your terms. So we've got an extra die to our engagement roll. And so let's look at that. Electa, what are you doing for your loadout?
I think I'll go light.
Okay.
We have the extra load
Yeah.
from Thieves Rigging, so light seems reasonable. Do I mark that somewhere?
You don't. I don't think you need to mark it. You just can tell us that we know.
There is a thing.
Oh, there is it? Oh, that's awesome.
There's on row 58.
Okay. Excellent. Stitch, light, medium, heavy.
I'm thinking at least medium, because I mean we're pretending to be working for the monopoly, so it won't matter if I look a little armed up, right? So I'm thinking I'm going. Should I go? Yeah, I'm going with heavy. Let's see how that works.
Okay. So you look full armed for bear. Like,
yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm going to transport a unknown criminal union guy. You got to be armed for that, right? Somebody will try to grab him, probably.
So you've got 8 with the other gear, so that's great.
Okay.
Huntress, what about for you?
And just to confirm, we do have the Thieves Rigging bonus, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. So that means going heavy would take me down to what, 6?
It would give you I believe 8 ticks worth of stuff.
8 ticks. So I can do normal and have 6 ticks.
Yeah.
Okay. In that case, I think I'm just gonna go.
Actually, normal would get you 7.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? I can't imagine that I'm going to need more than 7 things. So,
okay,
I will go with normal loadout.
And Shale?
I'm going light. I'm the squishy bureaucrat that that Stitch is going to protect.
All right. So we've got a couple of people with light, the other 2 kind of a little more armed. We'll assume that you've gotten some things to provide at least the most basic disguise for this.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't think this operation is super bold or daring, but neither is it too complicated. I think you have found a vulnerability. You've gone and gotten that, so I'll give you another die for that. Don't think there's any other friends. Let's give you 3 dice for the engagement roll. Electa, you're next up on the rolling tier, so I'm going to make you roll that engagement roll.
I'm happy to. I get 4.
Okay. So when you arrive there, you're presenting yourselves as people there who are from the monopolists, and you're here to pick up a despoteer. And I think you've essentially the first barrier is getting past the people downstairs, the distillery, to kind of get up to talk to the Rain brothers. And I think that's where we see you now. It's the four of you, and there are a couple of folks from the Rain brothers who have kind of like stopped you and are asking your business here. You're still like, you haven't gotten in to the second floor offices, and they want to hear the story. They want you to tell them exactly this. Now let me ask you this: are all four of you there, or is one or more of you hanging back at this point? I'm going to assume all four of you are there then. So who's doing the talking?
I think that's probably me.
Okay.
Um,
So tell me what line you're feeding them. Tell me what story you're telling them. And physically, I want to imagine that there's a door behind them. You're kind of coming up these wooden stairs to the second floor. Below, we see the vats of highly flammable alcohol and bottles and brewing things down below. People are still working. And a couple of these Rain brothers, they are looking at you. Who exactly are you?
So had we had a downtime, I would have gotten us a set of uniforms of the monopolists and some name tags. And Shale has put on a false beard so as not to be recognized by the person he talked to earlier. And
Do you have a disguise kit? Do you want to mark your fine cover identity for this?
I didn't think of that, but sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll take that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you do have a disguise, so you kind of can mark that, and you look the part.
Yeah. I'll take that later. Not right now while we're talking. And I'm just going to the person that I found out to be the foreman and go like, hey, Bergstrom sends us. We're here to pick up the prisoner. God, he's so mad. We gotta get going. Gotta get a, please don't make us wait.
Okay. I think that does feel like we're still on consort here.
Sure.
You kind of based on your early ability. These two guards, you're talking to them, you're telling them the story. Let's have you make that roll.
Sure. We care about position defect.
So by default, anything is a risky standard effect, unless we otherwise say. Certainly, if you want a devil's bargain, or if you want to change that, we can work with that.
Okay. Another 6.
Another 6. So these two guards will look at you, and they're clearly not quite what they expected. And one of them does say, and where's Bergstrom?
He sent us ahead. His cart broke down, and that made him even more mad.
Okay.
You know how he gets.
We've heard.
Yeah.
And they look back at the four of you. They unlock the door, and they bring you into the Rain Brothers HQ. They have several rooms. Like, this is a more spacious layer than you all have. And you can see that, like, all of the Rain Brothers are here. Like they are hanging around. There's a couple sitting in a corner playing cards. There's a couple sitting smoking. these guards come in, and one of them points to you four and says, "You wait here. I'll go and get the boss."
Thank you.
Electa, what are you doing?
I think I'm hanging back and trying to watch the people here, see if there's anyone who seems to be suspicious of us or who's looking for threats, basically.
Okay, so you're kind of keeping an eye on the room. Halen, what are you doing here?
I'm looking around the room trying to figure out who I know from my day job.
There are probably a couple of these people that you have seen pass through the justice system.
Oh yeah,
Does that seem fair?
totally does.
Okay. And Stitch, what are you doing? How are you presenting yourself? I mean, of the four of you, you are the one that is getting most of the eyes right now, given that you are at heavy load and you look unusual.
Yeah, I mean, I look at everyone, I glare at people, just like trying to sell that we are really, really tough guys, and that they, of course, we are working for Bergstrom, right? Because we are tough. I mean, obviously, I crack my knuckles maybe again.
And you will see this guy go back, or this guard go back, and after a couple of minutes, you will see them come back with their boss, the leader of the Rain Brothers. Her name is Lisa. Her name is Lisa Brothers. And she comes out, got the scars on her face. She's got the cauliflower ear from getting punched too much. She's got lots of stitches, and she kind of looks around at the four of you, and she says, "Where's Bergstrom?"
His cart broke down. That spill this morning. It ate through the wheels and through the axles, and he is hopping mad. He sent us ahead to get the prisoner. You can't imagine. Ugh.
A pause. She goes, "Well, okay, if you've got the money."
I have a writ here, or what would you call it? A bond for the full sum plus 20% payable at the offices.
All right. Now, this is going to be a roll for these documents that you have prepared. Does that seem reasonable?
Yep.
So what
I will
sway?
I'll check off my fine documents.
Okay.
Which should mean these are like tier 2 documents. It's higher tier than they are.
Yeah. So we'll say still risky, but if you convince them, this is great effect.
Cool.
So you've got that. Let's have you roll sway.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll just actually
risky. Great. Do you want to push yourself?
Yeah, I want to push myself.
Okay.
That's too stressed. That's a 6.
That is a 6. So you will hand this to her. You will see her take this from you. See her kind of look at this, and she nods, and okay, this is pretty good. Yeah. She seems very pleased. Like the number you've got here is clearly an outrageous number. And she seems very, very pleased with that. And she whistles to guys to go in the back and get him. and they will go and get him, and they've got him tied up with rope, and they've got a sack on his head, and he definitely is doing that kind of lurch around of somebody who has been very badly treated. Stitch, Halen, who are they handing? Which of you is taking charge of this person?
I'm taking charge of it.
Okay. All right. So you've got to hold him.
Kind of grabbing his arm, and I mean, I might help him a little to stand better, but it won't look like that. I hope.
Halen, you see Stitch is taking charge of this. This matter has been settled with the Rain brothers. Halen, you're kind of towards the back, kind of watching this. You're still kind of the doorway that leads downstairs into the distillery. And you're hearing some noise. And I think you probably maybe take a peek, kind of lean back. And you can see that there are a group of people who have just arrived down there. What do you want to do?
Let me check my load. See what kind of options I have. Right. I don't want them getting up here.
Yeah, they're clearly, it definitely looks like a group from those monopolists. They've just arrived. They're talking with the distillers downstairs. There's some sort of conversation going on.
Yeah. The only thing that I see on my gear list that could be useful in this situation is demolition tools.
So what are you going to do? He asked excitedly.
I am going to mark demolition tools and drop a stick of dynamite down the stairs.
Okay. So that feels like wreck.
Okay. It can be wreck.
Does that seem reasonable? Or and again, this is Blaze in the Dark, so you get to justify what action you'd like to use.
I mean, I'd like to think I'm trying to do it surreptitiously. So it seems like something downstairs in the distillery exploded, because that happens.
Okay. So
I'd like to use finesse.
Okay. Yeah, finesse seems good. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a die. Do you want to push yourself?
It's pushing myself or take a devil's bargain.
Yeah.
What kind of devil's bargain you got for me?
Well, I think since you're throwing this dynamite, it's going to explode. Those stairs are going to go, and you are going to fall down into that room.
I'm going to push myself.
Okay. So we're at 2 dice.
Does anybody want to help?
Does anyone want to help?
Do you have an idea how I could help? Like,
cause a distraction.
Distract them? Yeah.
so you're trying to cause an explosion?
Yeah,
with dynamite?
the major intent is to cause an explosion to create kind of a distraction in general. So I think he's asking for you to keep the attention of these people up here.
Oh, sure.
That
yeah.
they don't notice that he's dropping dynamite.
Yeah. I'll just go to the leader and position myself so that she has to follow me with her gaze away from the whole thing that's happening back there.
Sure.
And just like try to go through some of the small print of that contract that Electra has produced.
Absolutely. With her. So that is 3 dice, Puckett.
Yep. So the next thing, I would like to trade position for effect. I want to roll a desperate action here.
You would like to
Because
roll
I
a
feel like
des-
this is kind of desperate.
So yeah, desperate, great. I am absolutely fine with that.
Okay. Ah, 3 dice. There's a 6.
There is a 6. So Mark
I'm
was
so
for a
sorry,
desperate
Lowell.
action. I was super excited here. I got to admit, I will admit. And Electra, Dominic, you're talking to Lisa. She's looking over this. She's confirming on that. Stitch, you've got a hold of the person you're trying to rescue. And I think that you have an idea of what Halen is doing. Does that seem reasonable?
Yeah, I mean, I know Highland and the demolition tool, so yeah.
So there is this quiet click, a bit of dynamite, and then there is an explosion from downstairs. And the 2 guards that were on the landing outside the door here go falling. The stairs explode, and whoosh, the oxygen rushes out of the room because things suddenly catch fire down there, and it is chaos up in this room. Smoke, chaos, just sudden people are thrown to the ground. No one is tracking where anyone is at. Stitch, what do you do?
Where do I get out here in the quickest fashion?
Well,
I mean, not the
the
stairs, clearly.
Yeah, there is a window.
There is a window. Okay, I'm moving towards the window. I'm yelling, the Union guys are coming. And I'm moving towards the window to get
Okay.
myself and this dude out.
All right. So what do you want to roll for using the window as a door?
Using the window as a door. Let me check my equipment here. Is there anything that I can have? No. Climbing gear. Like useful, right?
Yeah, you can
Grappling
use that.
hooks and stuff like that. I'll use my climbing gear.
Okay. So throw something, snag on, and leap out to use the rope. Okay.
Yeah. And I will tell the guy to hold on. We're getting you out quietly.
Yeah, so I think that will allow you to have good standard effect for the 2 of you. And what do you want to roll that with?
Let me see what
I would like to help.
Sure.
Thank you, because I think I would need to roll this with, I don't know. I mean, wreck is probably. I mean, wrecking the window. Can I use that?
I'm fine with wreck.
Okay.
Finesse would also be
No,
fitting, I think.
no.
You're
I'm
good at that?
more the wreck guy than
Okay.
the finesse guy,
So,
right?
so the
Dominic,
way
how are you helping? How is Shale helping?
the way I'm helping is that I'm doing a flashback because, of course, I suspected that we would run into a problem like that, and the closest window to this like first story hallway we're in, I I greased a few palms here and there and talked to people, and they made it so that a cart with fabric and just so happens to stand below that window. And
like a rag and bone cart is out there,
and we also padded with like some straw so they land softly.
Okay. Yeah. So I think that's a stress. That seems reasonable.
On top of the helping stress of the assist stress.
Yes. For
Okay.
the flashback.
Fair enough.
Stitch. So right now you're looking at 3 dice.
Cool. I'm also pushing myself.
Okay, then this would be a superhuman leap out this window.
Yes, it will be. It will be. Because I want to protect this guy, and that means that I will have to take down half of the wall.
Absolutely. So that is 4 dice.
4 dice. Okay. Let's see. No, holy. It's a 5.
That is a 5. So I think that like this wall goes out, and you will leap and land in that cart. But I think that the cart is going to, they've got a horse on there, and it is immediately going to take off.
Nice.
Like,
Okay.
there's some
Fine.
sort of beast there that was attached that you didn't plan. Like, you thought it was just going to be like a pull cart or something like that, but somebody put a horse there. Unless you want to resist that.
I think I love the idea of being on that card with a horse that is moving away, because that's basically what I want anyway.
Okay, so you and him in the back of his cart, wildly moving away, and now
Yeah.
the landing zone for your allies is gone.
Yeah, sorry about that,
Okay.
guys. Maybe I should have no, it's fine. You'll get out somehow.
So you are storming through the streets. His explosion has gone off. Let's come to Electa and then Dominic. Sorry, to Shale. Electra, people have hit the ground. There's now smoke and flame kind of pouring up into here. With that wall being busted open, that's let more oxygen in up here, and people are like, the best thing is that success on that desperate action means that none of the Rain brothers are paying attention to you. However, this building is not in great shape.
Yeah. I think I'm also going to use my climbing gear.
Okay.
Like Electra has a rope like winded around her waist, that like right under her jacket. So she winds that out, quickly ties it around whatever she can get at that looks reasonably stable, and then just slides out the window, or the window.
Yeah. The great hole in the wall, the stitch shaped hole in the wall. So what do you want to roll to get out, to get safety, and without being like pursued or injured?
Prowl seems like the reasonable thing here.
Yeah.
Which I only have one die in. Thing.
Can I justify helping because I left my climbing gear behind?
Well, I like that. Mark your stress and yeah.
Oh, I will take
2 dice.
That. And I think no, I'm considering trading position for effect here, because this is kind of a risky move. But now I'll just roll it.
Okay.
2 dice. That's a 6.
6. Grab, leap. You are out the window. You are on the ground before anybody in there can see you. Do you like move to hide, or like go and hide in the crowd? Do you chase behind the cart? Where do we see you? Like, you are free and clear.
I think Electra like ducks down an alley, pulls out a hairpin just to change her hair, and pull off her jacket and put it under her arm, just so that she looks a bit different, and then she just hastily walks off in a different direction.
Shale, what are you doing?
I'm also using my climbing gear, and I do the same thing with finesse. Just quickly take off my climbing gear.
Perfect.
And yeah, I think I'm also going to push myself.
Okay.
Okay, so that is 1 finesse and 1 for the pushing.
Yeah.
And just so I'm, not
nice. You are out that window. You will swing. Are you Are you landing on the cart as it's getting away, or are you vanishing out in the crowd? Like, you have your choice of where you want to land.
I think for that crit, I will not only land on the cart, I'm going to land on the horse.
Okay.
And take the reins and will like turn that into a controlled getaway maneuver.
Perfect. Get control of it. Moving away. That just leaves us with Huntress in this building that is starting to conflagrate deliciously. What do we see you do?
Is there anything valuable in here that I can steal?
Always a good question.
Yeah, I mean, look, they've got some various trophies and things. Looks some valuable rare metal boxing trophies and such in here. Of course, that kind of stuff.
How many can I grab on my way out?
Well, that'll depend on how you roll.
All right. I don't think there's anybody left here to assist.
That's true.
So, what kind of devil's bargain you got for me?
Let's see. Well, right now, you're trying to escape and grab some stuff, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to make that desperate standard, if that
Okay.
seems okay to you, to see what you can do. To start out with, I think a devil's bargain is going to be that one of these Rain brothers who you recognized will recognize you.
Hmm. So, really quickly, just to hold the table,
Yeah.
are you all okay with helping me face those consequences from my civilian identity? Seeing thumbs up from Sabine, shrug from
Sure.
Andish.
What does that mean?
The crew will need to help me do something to rehide my identity after the
Oh,
Rain
sure.
brother. Okay. Then yes, I'll take that devil's
They'd
bargain.
be like, why is Matt Murdock helping out with this this thing here? Okay. Yeah, so take that. Let's have you roll.
And that's what, 2d6?
That is, let's see. So Devil's Bargain gave you 1.
Yep.
Finesse gave you 1. So yeah. Are you pushing yourself? Oh no,
Oh,
you
yeah.
took the Devil's Bargain. So that's just
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so it's 2 dice.
You're welcome.
So
Really quickly,
yeah,
it doesn't have to be a successful roll to mark XP for the
you
desperate
just have to
action.
you just have to roll it.
Okay.
So I think there are 2 consequences here. And you can choose which one you'd like to resist or both. One is I am going to give you a level 2 harm because we were in a desperate situation.
Okay.
And of course, you've got armor you can use to reduce that. But then the other consequence is I think you are going to as you're going to grab for that stuff, you're going to fall through the floor into the midst of those people downstairs. And by that, I mean the people that were actually here for the prisoner.
Okay. I'm definitely going to burn some armor.
Yeah.
Because I mean, why the hell do I have it if I'm not going to
Yeah.
use it, right?
Yeah.
And you said level 2, so I need to mark both ticks on the armor?
Yes.
Okay. So there's the armor.
Well, you need to, so that's the marking the armor, because that's 2, we'll reduce that one by 1. And if you want to
Okay.
mark the demo tools, so you can reduce down to level 1 harm effectively with that. Or you
Okay.
can resist the other part of that harm.
Can we do the roll to resist falling through the floor first?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. So that's 1d6.
That feels like prowess to me to resist falling through the floor. And how
Okay.
generous is that of me to say?
Oh, so I'm getting 2 dice?
You're rolling 3 dice. Your prowess is a 3, right?
Well, let me double check.
Yeah. It is.
Okay, it is. Awesome. All right. So, and I can't push myself with this, correct?
No.
There's a couple of 5s.
So you take just 1 stress to avoid falling through the floor. And now, do you want to resist that last remaining level 1 harm?
Oh, let me mark the stress real quick. And yeah, what the hell?
Absolutely.
Why not roll more dice?
Prowess again.
I get the feeling you're being nice for that because of that miss. There's a 6.
So, Huntress, this is not pretty. You do not get the trophies. You go tumbling out of this place as it is going up. It does not go as well as you want, and there is that moment as you're kind of like getting out the as I said, stitch-shaped hole in the wall where one of these Rain Brothers people looks and kind of you see them do this like finger out like hey before you vanish out the window. You're not injured, but you are bruised. And I think we see you stumbling away a little bit into the night. Does that seem fair?
Bruised and embarrassed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we cut to say an hour and a half later with the group having returned the cart, having taken circuitous winding routes and found your way back, and having rescued this guy. Despotir is, thank you so much. Who are you people?
We're just people who want to help.
They,
A couple of concerned citizens. That's what we are.
thank you. There are others that got away and they would have tried to get their names from me. I know that. So you didn't just save me, you saved other people as well. You know, if there's anything we can do ever to help you all, you know, just say the word. And I assume you will cut him loose, right?
Of course.
Okay.
And I'll slip him my business card just in case they need legal representation.
Okay. So you are going to earn 3 rep for this job because they were a higher tier than you. And you're going to earn 4 coin.
Nice.
So each person can take a coin.
Yeah. How much rep was that? Sorry. How much rep? How much rep was that?
3 rep.
3 rep. Okay.
And unfortunately, the explosion brings us up to 4 heat. I will roll for entanglements later. We can go ahead and move to downtime if folks would like. So again, downtime activities. Everybody gets 2. Acquiring an asset, long-term project, recovering, reducing heat, training, indulging vice. Shale, what would you like to do for your first downtime activity?
Just quickly mark my coin. I would like to save one of them for later when we know what our next score is for acquiring of assets.
Sure.
And with the other one, I'm gonna indulge in my vice.
Okay. Yeah, you're in a
So,
good space for that.
going-
So tell us what that vice looks like. It's the first time we're seeing that.
So Shale, after all that explosion and running business, like the moment he gets off the horse, we see that he's a big old tear in his pants, and he's like holding, and it's like, oh, God's sake. And as soon as we dropped off the prisoner, he's going over to Madame Carnet's Emporium, and he's going to have, a good dinner with fresh fruit and fresh meat and good wine, and he's going to spend quite some time in the pants section, and buy a few new what are they called in English? Like these wide call them Pluderhosen in German, like these wide pantaloon type of pants, and buys quite a few of them, and tries them on, and you see his spirit like really visibly lifting, and the stress getting away as he like indulges in the beauty of his own appearance in these great new pants and in the quality of his dinner.
Excellent.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Let's see what
Let's
the
have
dice
you
say.
roll a die.
That's my lowest attribute, right?
Yep. Just have a 1.
So it's 1. Okay, let's see. That is a 4. Yep.
Okay. Good. Clear there. And we'll hold on to that asset. We'll resolve that one. Next time I'll present some options and decide when that happens, we'll kind of go to that. Electra, what would you like to do for downtime?
Yeah, I do not need to indulge. Think I'd like to reduce heat.
Okay. How are
because
you doing
I know
that?
how bad it is to let that build up too much.
Yeah. What are you doing to reduce the heat?
I think I think she's talking to people at the prison because she knows that they will talk to the city guard and that sort of thing about, oh, did you hear about that explosion that this Bergstrom fellow set off, and like try to put everything on the monopoly.
Sorry, are you really kind of pointing the fingers at Bergstrom really hard? That would be sway, or are you just kind of talking lightly?
No, I'm going hard
Okay.
on Bergstrom.
Let's have you roll 2 dice to reduce heat then.
Cool. I get my bad roll, which I guess is better than before. So
True.
I get a 1 and a 2. So
So
I guess that's 1 heat.
1
right?
heat will be reduced.
Oh, better than nothing.
You've still got another downtime action.
Yeah, I think I would say that as well.
Okay. Yeah, we'll save that for when we kind of know what the next things are possibly going to be. Okay, that seems fair. Halen.
I would like to also reduce heat.
Okay. How are you reducing the heat?
This is actually something that would reduce the heat or increase it, because my idea is that I want to march right into the monopolist's offices, hand them my card and say, I understand that there was an explosion when a petty gang was attempting to hand over a prisoner that you were interested in. I would like to represent you in this matter.
Interesting. That's so direct, I will let you use command.
Okay.
That seems fair?
I'm glad that that seems fair. I just wanted to make sure that actually is reducing heat or
Yeah.
something that you would allow for that.
Yeah, if you're doing that to try and direct attention in a different direction, I think.
Okay. So that's 2 dice. Can I do a devil's bargain, anything like that with this?
No, not
Of
for
course
this.
not. There's a 6
But
and a
still
5.
a 6 that you reduce the heat by 3. And what do you want to do for your second downtime action?
I want to train.
Train. What would you like to what track do you want to train in?
I think prowess. We don't have a track where you get a bonus for training, do we?
Not yet. No.
Okay.
So give yourself 1 XP for prowess.
Yeah.
Stitch. Heat has been significantly reduced. Well, what do you want to do?
I think I want to start a long-term project.
Okay. And what do you want to call / do with this long-term project?
I think I want to find a place for maybe not just myself, but others that need a place to stay. Like, and I think this is probably a two-tier project where I need to find a place, and I need to convince some people to come with me to that place, because I can't be there alone because I can't afford it. But maybe if I get a couple of people, we can maybe afford it together.
Yeah. Let's do this as a let's do this as a 6 tick to like find the place, and then probably a 4 tick to convince people. Does that seem fair?
Yep, that seems fair. Do we have a clock page?
I will get one. We should have one, but I'll mark it here on my little sheet.
Okay.
Clock, find place, and I'll get that in the thing. What do you want to roll for finding the place?
I think a survey, I guess.
Okay.
Might make sense. Is there any way I can get more than 1 die I have in survey?
You can push.
I can push. No, I think oh wait, if I push, then I can relieve stress.
Yes.
That's great. Yeah, cool. I will push. Then I go up to 5, and now it gets a little harder to figure out. I think these are 5. Yes. Cool. Okay, then I get 2 dice.
2 dice.
Yeah. See, it's not great. It's 3.
3. So you are just going to get 1 segment on that clock.
Oh, well, maybe I've just eliminated some options.
Yeah. So do you want to indulge your vice for that second one?
Yep.
Just tell us what that looks like.
Okay, that looks like I think it ties into actually my looking for people to come there with me, because I mean I like talking to people on the market and something, and that will come up when I talk to people about places, like what would work and what wouldn't work, and has anybody done this. And I think I'll just go to the market. It's pretty early, a flower market, and talk to a person who seems amenable to talk to me, and I'll
Okay.
and then
Does that feel like consort?
yeah, probably.
Okay.
Probably.
But that's not what we're rolling with. I forgot. You're rolling with your lowest of your attributes. I apologize.
So that's 2.
That's 2.
Yeah. See how that goes. Oh, there's a 6, damn it.
So that is a 6. So you will clear all of your stress.
Yeah, but I've overindulged, right?
Yes.
What does that mean?
With the indulging, there, you have a choice of how you want to approach this. Get to that page. You can attract trouble, which means when we go to do entanglement, we'll roll a second problem that's going to affect your group. You can brag about what happened and get +2 heat.
No,
You can get lost and vanish for a couple of weeks.
no.
Or essentially, this is the place that you go to normally indulge your vice, and you get kicked out and cut off, and you're going to have to do a project to find another vice purveyor.
Are you all okay with the getting into trouble thing where we have a second entanglement?
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
fine with it.
Okay, cool.
So we'll
Then
put okay.
I think I will get in trouble probably with
Okay.
the yeah.
I will make a note that when we do entanglements next time,
Okay.
we'll generate 2 of them. Check one thing. All right. So we are going to do XP now, and then we'll do stars and wishes. We'll start out next time doing the entanglements, kind of put a couple of missions out there, do some RP to lead us into the next step. So people have already marked. If you rolled desperate actions, you marked those. Shale, what is your playbook specific XP trigger?
So my trigger is you address the challenge with calculation or conspiracy, which I did at least twice.
Yeah, I think a
yeah.
couple ticks for that.
Yeah, like 2 I can think of off the top of my head. It's a card and also getting us in there.
Oh yeah.
And then did I express my beliefs, drives, heritage, or background? No, I don't think I did. Not that many chances for RP today.
Oh, I think actually in that initial scene where you showed us who you were, like that was particularly set up to show us something about you.
I totally forgot about that scene. Yes.
Let's give you a point for that.
Yeah. Totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
And I did not struggle with my vice.
Okay. We haven't got your traumas yet, so we'll work towards that.
So that's 3 XP.
That's 3. Electra, what is your playbook specific XP trigger?
You address the challenge by using your connections or exploiting the rules. I think maybe this thing with reducing heat through my workplace connections.
Yeah.
But I think that's probably the only thing I did related to that.
Okay. Beliefs, drives, heritage, or background? At least the initial scene where I had you.
Yeah, that's
I think there's that. So I think that's 2. That gives you a tick on each of those. So I think 2 on that.
Yeah. No struggle.
Okay.
These are the ones we can put anywhere. Right?
Yeah, you can put them on playbook XP. You can put them on whatever you want. Halen, what is your XP
I have
trigger?
2.
Okay.
You address the challenge with intimidation or bring criminals to justice. I feel like that might have occurred twice, depending on how you look at it. Because dropping a stick of dynamite kind of feels like intimidation, and the way I walked into the monopolist's office feels like intimidation.
I'll give you 1 for that. I think
Okay.
I think we're like half a half on each of those. I'll give you 1 on that,
Okay.
and I'll definitely give you 1 for your alter ego.
Okay.
Yeah. So 2 points there, and
beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. I'm sleeping on a pew in a storefront church for a priest that I helped.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that's 1.
Yeah. And I think actually this is where the end scene, you using your position, your background, your civilian identity there. I'll give you another tick for that.
Okay, so that's 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, you can put those under playbook. You can put those under one of the tracks. It's up to you.
Gotcha.
And Stitch, what is your playbook specific XP trigger?
You address the challenge with curiosity or disregard for personal safety, and I think the first disregard for personal safety I got.
Oh
and
yeah, definitely.
And I think curiosity as well, at least in the last scene when I was talking to the flower girl, because I was asking her
Okay, I'll give you
about
that.
her
Yeah.
life and stuff. And there are other XP triggers I've just learned from what Puckett has said.
You expressed your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background.
Oh, cool. I think I expressed my background with the nightmare.
Yeah. So that's another tick for that. And then the last one would be you struggled with issues from your vice or traumas, which you don't have yet. So
yeah.
Okay. Well, actually, you do get a tick because you did overindulge your vice.
Yeah.
That's the other benefit I always give for that.
Cool.
And again, you can put this on playbooks, or you can put that on one of the attribute tracks. And then we look at the crew advancement. We go through that. You did a successful action there. So we're going to mark a tick for the rescue. I think we learned quite a bit about your group's like essential nature this time. We kind of got that on the table, so I'm gonna put a tick for that. I think we'll get a little bit of the. I shouldn't do these in black. I should do those in gray. I put ticks in there, so that's what I've got there. Let's. I think you honorable. Do you think you bolstered your honorable reputation?
By rescuing some
Yeah.
person in need, yeah.
Yeah. We'll leave aside the explosions. And then yes, you did contend with challenges above your station. You dealt with 2 higher tier foes there. So I'm giving you 4 ticks total on that. Seem reasonable?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I would like to do a quick stars and wishes. Stars being things you particularly liked, other people's play, details that we saw, things that you found interesting, and then wishes being things that you'd like to see for your character, like to lean into, or things you'd like to see less, things you'd like to see more, all of that kind of thing. And usually when I go around and have people do both at the same time. So Dominic, is it okay if I start with you?
Sure. I can't really think of anything right now. I like the whole setup, like this extended session 0 that we did today. And also we didn't do that much play today, so there wasn't really time for spotlights. But I think we started to, like, right out of the gate, we started to work quite nice as a team. So that's stars all around for that, like how Anders stepped in with a contract, and Sabine like getting the guy and rescuing him, and Puckett clearing our like backs, so to speak, from the people coming. That was quite nice. That clicked very quickly. And wishes, not particularly. Like,
Okay.
it was a 0.5 session, so you know.
Yeah, getting a feel to how I run, how you all play. So I think
yeah.
that's fair. That seems excellent. Andish.
Yeah, stars to everyone for being like both willing to take big swings in the fiction, going for big actions, and also being like pretty snappy with the rules, not getting bogged down in things, because that can happen a lot with Blades. But I think this was very smooth. That's for you as well, Lowell. And as usual, you do a great job with spotlight management. So that's always nice. Wishes. I think for myself, establishing some NPCs at the prison and other places, like doing some work on that, finding some interesting people to bring in there.
Yeah, let's definitely next time, because we'll have some space for RP and so on. Let's figure out who this innocent is and like get them on screen.
Yeah.
To deal with that question out there.
Also, one thing, didn't Puckett also reduce heat, right?
Puckett, you
So we
reduced heat.
should
Did
be
you?
down
Did
to
you?
2, I think.
Yeah, you said I reduced 3 heat for the roll of
Yeah.
6.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I think we're all cleared. Sorry, I should have.
Oh, no.
Conclude that
I'll
out.
fix it.
Yeah.
I just wasn't sure.
No. Halen.
This was a lot of fun. I mean, yes, it was like a session 0.5, but Lowell, I have to say, that was one of the smoothest heists I've ever seen run, and it really actually made me kind of understand how the Blades in the Dark rolls work better than I usually do. Love the game. Dice are confusing, so that's a huge star for you. Dominic, I loved how Shale was smooth and savvy and planning and had contingencies set up. You know, it made a lot of sense. And
Great spider, like one of the best spiders
Right.
I've seen. Yeah.
Thank you.
And then Sabine, I loved how there was a stitch-shaped hole in the wall. I mean, that was, you know, my brain goes immediately to Looney Tunes cartoons, so I just automatically assumed it was a hole shaped like Stitch, like just an outline, which kind of cracked me up, even though I know there was a lot more property damage than that. But also Stitch seems really gentle and community focused and oriented, like not just for personal protection, but also for companionship. And that was a nice thing to see. And then Andish, I loved how Electra was trying to stay out of the fray and yet wound up right in the thick of it and had to go out the window, or well, the hole in the wall, just like everybody else. So that was fun to see. I was not expecting to see an administrator have to jump off of a roof, but you know, needs must, right? So yeah. And as far as wishes go, I can't really think of any offhand.
Okay, fair enough. And Stitch.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with this short little heist we did. I loved seeing everybody, seeing Shale being very together and yeah, and smooth talking these guys. And I loved Hayden just throwing dynamite down the staircase when things got a little dicey. It was fun, and I also loved Electra and her perfect documents. That was with the, oh no, we have this bond here, don't worry. That was a really good use of those documents. So yeah, and then the dice room was also quite nice to us when it needed to be. So yeah, that was fun. And I wishes wise, I would like, yeah, you said we would get some RP opportunity, yeah, because I would like to talk to the other people a little at least and see how we work together as a crew. We've seen that, but how do we work together as people? How do we relate to each other? What are the relationships? So I'd love to see more of that.
Excellent. I enjoyed myself. I love what you all built early on. I appreciated when I threw to folks. You were all willing to give me material. I love what you do with the toxic thing, Dominic, and all the bits that we built up there at the start. So I'm very excited to see where this goes. I'm going to stop the recording.